Sure. I'm Kendra Havens. I'm a program manager on Visual Studio and .NET. My main area of focus is the unit testing experience in Visual Studio. So I'm super passionate about test-driven development and whatnot.
Okay.
Always happy to talk about it.
Okay. Kendra, you show us a bunch of new features in Visual Studio 2017.8?
Yes.
Yeah, 0.8. Could you just summarize? I know that this is a lot of stuff, but
oh man, let me get my notes out. No, the major things we added are a ton of new code refactorings and code fixes. I think people are most excited about probably the conversion from link query to for each loop.
Yeah.
It's just there's a bunch of little tiny things. We also have converting for loop to for each and then for each back to for loop. Just like the simple stuff. We also have inverting if statements or if else statements rather. Just things that the compiler could totally do for you, and you might as well be able to do it in 2 clicks. Because the conversion is very easy for your compiler, and it kind of takes off that kind of translation stress off of the developer. A couple other things I went over was the IntelliCode extension. Really excited about bringing AI into the developer experience, as well as source link debugging, so being able to step into the source code of a NuGet reference that you're using that is open source. It's absolutely key to figuring out how your references are actually transforming your inputs and giving you back a result. It's super nice to just be able to bring that all into Visual Studio. What else did I go over?
Okay,
I'm asking you now.
Okay, don't
Code
worry.
cleanup, that's a huge one, and
yes,
editor
code
config.
cleanup, code fixes, we talk about that. Debugging feature, the compile source code, okay?
Yeah. Navigate to decompile sources.
Navigate, step backwards.
Step backward, we've got historical debugging, so that's like sort of a new button that will appear during your debugging session. So you can actually step backward and see the previous value that your local variables held with each step that you use in the debugger. Is super helpful for if you go like one step too far, you can just go right back and see what your variable values used to be.
Mm-hmm. And the next thing's code cleanups.
Love
that's
that
awesome.
one.
When we can replace
everything,
explicit type go to var.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I think I will show that to my colleagues because they still complain about that var, and I need to fight with them.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you have to fight. But hopefully once you do come to like the agreement for what the rule should be, it should be easy to apply and really easily documented. So editor config is really helpful with these kind of things because all of your code style rules are actually written out in a file that travels around with your source code.
Kendra, let's talk a little bit about Visual Studio 2019.
Ooh, my favorite.
I read that Microsoft announced that they are start working on that something
Definitely.
goes on. So maybe you can share with us some news about when can we expect preview.
Oh, I definitely can't state anything about the previews. I feel like John Montgomery probably already wrote a blog post about what times in general we could start expecting previews to come out. I am really, really excited about new designs that we might be able to get in. We've already changed a lot of, and again, I'll focus back on unit testing because we've already changed a lot in the Test Explorer and current releases of Visual Studio. I'm talking about the test hierarchy and source-based discovery and more responsive test runs. We still definitely want to improve that space. So stay tuned. Is that a good teaser? I like it. Okay.
Maybe let's talk a little bit about Visual Studio 2015 because I think a lot of developers still work using that version.
Yeah, Tim Huckabee just gave a talk in Visual Studio 2015.
Yeah, so are there any plans to improve or to give some features from the newer version to the
and bring them back? Some things that we are currently working on are just extensions in Visual Studio. So you can install them, like for example, the multi-cursor. Oh, that's a huge one that I went over today. It's using Control-Alt-Click to place your cursor in multiple places in the file, and you're able to edit them all at once from your keyboard. That was an extension for a really long time that we wanted customers to test. And sure, by right now, it's in Visual Studio 2017 by default, but since we developed it as an extension, you can still absolutely install it in 2015 and get that functionality.
That sounds great.
I'm not sure if IntelliCode can be installed in 2015. I haven't tried it out, but I don't see why it couldn't. So I would definitely look around. There's a lot of development that we do starts out as extensions because we want to see like how popular they get. So I would definitely look and see what kind of extensions we've been coming out with and see if they work with 2015.
Great, thank you for that. And maybe we could talk a little bit about your role in Microsoft. You are a program manager. What does it mean?
What does it mean?
Yeah.
Oh man, when I figure that out, I'll let you know. No.
Oh, come on. What are you doing in your daily work?
So my day-to-day changes vastly depending on what project, and there's kind of never really it's not like it's all set in stone and there's an easy path forward. Like you interview customers, then you look at telemetry, then you look at like blog posts in the community, and you come up with a conclusion or a design of what you should do in a feature area. It's not always super straightforward. Sometimes you use a little bit of each of those solutions. Sometimes you only talk with like one developer who's been thinking about this problem for 8 years, and you figure out how you can get resources in order to get it into the product. It's really, actually, source-based discovery is a little bit of that. It's the new test discovery that I just demoed that uses your source code to discover tests instead of built assemblies. That existed within the Roslyn team, the compiler team, for like a few years. And the Roslyn team had been using it for that long of a time. We just didn't put it in the default product because like we didn't have resources to put it in. It just wasn't like recognized as the huge value add that it is today. Because we weren't talking with each other as much, and we weren't thinking about it as a value add that could be used not only by us but by all of developers. And now it's finally in, and it is great. It's saving so much time. That's all to say that sometimes it's designing things, sometimes it's talking with customers, sometimes it's giving talks, and sometimes it's deciding, making a lot of product decisions and working with our community because it is so community based. We love to hear feedback from customers. We would not be where we are without it, for sure. So it's a huge hats off to the community for sort of keeping the product direction going in the right place, because we definitely feel that tug, and it's not always where we had envisioned it going, but I'm really excited to see what's happening.
Very great.
Yeah.
How are you enjoying the conference?
Oh my gosh, so much.
Yeah?
The food was great. The beer is excellent. I love the dueling pianos. That was so fun. Yeah.
Is this your first time in Poland?
Yes.
Yeah? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
It is so cool. The food is amazingly good and inexpensive. I just didn't know. This is great. Yeah.
Okay.
I can't wait to visit the park tomorrow. It'll be great.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.